What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. It's Sunday night, and this is not the normal night that we're going to be doing Belle Collective, but it's a lot going on, and we're going to get on in here. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. The bells are back, apparently back on their bullshit. That's how I saw it. What did y'all think? What did y'all think of this episode? They had this short episode last time, and it wasn't about worth nothing. Y'all, did I remember? I think I forgot to put the. Let me go ahead and send it to myself. They had a short season last time. So I don't know if that's because they had a lack of interest. I don't know, not from us, but from, the powers that be. We had a little situation over there with I'm here right with you, but I'm also trying to send myself this graphic that I forgot probably to do. No surprise there. Anyway, we got a little story about, Latrice's friend came over here talking about she was dipping it and doing it with Glenn, which is not surprising. But anyway, we left with a feud between Latrice and Letitia. And when I tell you, I'm about to be stumbling and bumbling over these names because they're all too similar. But yeah, we left the season 6 with Letitia and Latrice going at it. They went through all of that drama. They, got together to get rid of your girl. What was her name? Aisha. Her and Big Willie was over there doing big things. We haven't heard about Letitia and her Fair Street endeavors since that lady left. Now all we talking about is, I don't know, cheating husbands. The same cheating husbands that was cheating the last time, this is what they do. Like, they're recycling these things. We got Carrie in here with a little something new. And so, yeah, we're going to get into the things, y'all. It's season 7, episode 1, if I didn't say that before. So the Bells came over here with their new confessional. So I'm going to go ahead and start there because, this is what they're serving, y'all. What you think? Letitia is over here, with her cape on, and it's giving very much J.C. Penney's women's collection. I've seen it, it's a little matronly. That's what I'm going to say. I feel like Letitia is younger than these looks that she be serving. So it's giving a little matronly. I don't know about this, parted down wig, but Letitia, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not mad at it because at least she doesn't look like she stuffed into it. She looks like she bought something that actually fits and she's not uncomfortable. So if she was over there trying to give boss lady vibes, because that's what she's always over here trying to sell, then I guess mission accomplished. Latrice, I usually like her looks. I'm not a fan of this. Latrice's fashions kind of like surpassed whatever the rest of these ladies got going on by far. So she's always kind of a standout when it comes to her looks for the most part. But this one right here, it looks like origami napkins. You know how when you go on Project Runway, well, not when we go on Project Runway, but when they go on Project Runway and they get that unconventional challenge and they go around to the party store and pick up napkins and things that they can fold into an origami dress. That's what it looks like. It looks like Project Runway project. Child, my nose is itching so bad. So let me just off the subject just a little bit. I went in my backyard. First of all, I have this enormous tree. When I came to this house, I was like, oh, I love the tree. And it looks like 100-year-old tree. This tree, I feel like it's holding the house up at this point. But when that tree in the spring, when starts dropping all the things. So I went out there the other day and I raked the yard clean. And I have a pretty big backyard. Let me just say that. So I rake the things up, and usually, like, I just go over it with the mulch. I mean, with the lawnmower, mulch it down. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have a multitude of trees, and when I'm saying multitude, like there's that big tree, and then there's some random bamboo trees over in the back. You know what I'm saying? I don't live in a forest or anything, but I came out to there this evening. It's been very windy. You know, Florida, when it starts getting into springtime, it gets very windy. So I'm lucky to be breathing. I'm lucky that all I have is, an itchy nose. But I went out there, and that whole backyard is covered in freaking leaves from one of them damn trees, probably from the neighbor's yard too. Now I got to clean up all over again. Anyway, I just needed to get that off my chest. So yeah, the trees looks like an origami napkin. Carrie, honey, I mean, I feel like the bob is almost there. That little dip in the back, and it's just a personal thing. I feel like that dip in the back is unnecessary. Now, this pink is one ugly shade of pink, Miss Carrie. So, has she been wearing like a tan suit? I'm not mad at the suit. If it was like tan or black, then it's gonna sound weird, but maybe I would feel differently about the bob. But it's just, girl, it is not a Barbie world. Why are all y'all so many? Marie down here? Oh, Marie, she's another one with an origami situation. She got origami titties in a pink dress. Y'all went down to the pink shop, didn't you? Marie looked like Marie. I don't hate the dress. It's giving pretty much the same thing that Latrice is giving, or origami Project Runway type vibes. Selena looks good. I'm glad Selena took the Beyonce hair off. The dress is very minimal. She don't have a lot going on, but when she stand up, that's all she need to do, and that dress is gonna be giving. So Selena, it's not bad. Tambra, Tambra looked like Tambra over here. Smurfette got on a little red dress that's spread all over the seat, and Tambra's a good dresser, so I don't have nothing bad to say about Tambra's dress, except this is the most you're gonna see of her ass over in this confessional, because Tambra don't really be around like that. Anyway, let's get into the things that are the show. Latrice and Letitia are beefing this season, so I guess that's gonna be what the storyline is. We're gonna try to figure out the battle of the ladies that think they're the boss. HBIC is Marie Monroe, as far as I'm concerned. Even with her, doily dress on, origami dress on. Marie Monroe has actual businesses. She's an actual boss. And I'm not saying Latrice isn't, but Latrice is over here with Cliff. Like, if Latrice was standing alone, I would feel differently. But she's not giving, she's giving catty. She's, what I mean? It's not really boss. Even though she's got businesses, she also got Cliff. So Marie over there doing a damn thing on her own. Marie Monroe is the HBIC, but she doesn't mind letting her friends shine, because that's what she came over here to do. It was her idea, so she's always gonna be first, and this is what they let her do every season. She comes over here with a new fake office, or a new fake this, and this time new fake brunches and traveling. Did she tour? When she left, she was supposed to be on a brunch tour down to Jackson. I was the one that she went to, the only one we seen. Where was she at? Down to the Bells Bosman. She had dishes and decorations and all these things. Every time Letitia put on a website, it absolutely takes you to nowhere. They was over there running a box truck business with no insurance, and she gives us things that we can actually look up that don't exist. So here she is again. And you can say this is great if you want to. I think it's just another thing that Latrice is doing over, not Latrice, Letitia is doing over here. Feel like you can hire little studio people. You know what I mean? You can be like, do you have a production company? Can you people come over here and shoot this and make a set for me? And that's what they did. They came over here, they made a set for her. I'm not mad at the set. It was actually cute. And I think what's this lady? Letitia and Letitia lying on the couch. Both of them. Anyway, I think Letitia Pearson looks very nice. I like that green. The skirt was short, but one thing she gonna do is give us access to, views of her big old booty. So I'm not surprised about that. But I think, once again, she was down to the JC Penney. Maybe she went to Macy's. We're gonna give her Macy's. She went down to the Macy's, and she went in the professional women's department. I used to work at Macy's years ago. College years. Anyway, and got her a nice little suit, And maybe that suit is supposed to be a little longer, but she got a lot of junk in her trunk. So who knows, what length the skirt is really supposed to be. But I think she looks nice. I think her wig looks nice. Yeah. Letitia's a good looking lady. She just doesn't always make the best fashion choices. Now, what I will say is these buttons might be fighting just a little bit, but I don't think that's her fault. I think that says more about, the quality, of the suit. Did she get that thing shortened? Anyway. Other Letitia Scott looks beautiful. Tisha, she's a hit or miss, but this time she's a hit. Yeah, she looks really pretty. So they sitting over here, child, on this couch. And she's this boss lady, apparently, Letitia Scott. She's a boss lady. She has brought her what's Letitia Pearson has brought her childhood friend on board. Now, I have to mention that because when Letitia went out last season, Latrice had her friend Amanda. She had her friend Mandy over there all down in Glenn's DMs. And when she left that reunion couch, she said, yes, on the popping now. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but she pretty much was like, everybody getting it. That's what she was, play with me if you want to. So she went and got her feisty friend. What's her feisty friend's name? Shantae. Shantae wants to be more involved in her brand. Shantae, if you can help the lady because she needs it. What happened to that tall, whose friend was that? Is that Tamber's friend? I can't remember her name, but she was tall, pretty lady. And I think she worked with Latrice. She must have been like, let me out of here in this mess because you don't really see her anymore. But anyway, Letitia Scott showed up. She had a nice little walk-in. She came through with 2 very chill bottles of chocolate in a bottle and, a nice little shot of her Chanel bag. I love this dress. Tisha looks pretty. Tisha is super cute until she opened her mouth and starts saying silly stuff. She over here being a boss, a businesswoman, all these accolades that that Letitia Pearson was giving her. This is gonna be bear with me, y'all. Scott has a lot of degrees. You know what I mean? But she don't really have a whole lot of business. She's still over there trying to sell that office space that's next to Black. I don't know why she don't just rent it herself. She needs an office space, so why wouldn't she take that one? And now she got a $600,000 home on her listing. It'll probably still be there when Love and Marriage Huntsville starts. So we'll talk about that when we get over there to Huntsville. Whew, it's still too hot, child. Anyway, we got these 2 delusional women sitting on this sofa claiming to be bosses, and we'll see. Letitia Scott does have Black, so they've been in business for a minute. I don't know like what their reviews are and all that stuff, but the people be going over there. They're probably not a whole lot to do, so and people definitely want to go over there and see if they can run into one of the Scotts, one of the cast members, and Nell and Chris Fletcher used to support, but we'll see. I'm talking about the wrong show. Letitia Pearson. After they did their little interview, we didn't hear too much of it. I did hear Tisha say Marcel's aunt told her to put some money to the side in case, things go to the left, but I don't know that she's listened. Letitia Pearson is over here painting this picture, the same one she always does when they're off He doesn't want to see her be successful because he's afraid that she's going to leave. I mean, she's not wrong. He did say that. So my thing is, first of all, we've heard it all before. Second of all, every time she come over here, she booked and busy. She got this going on and that going on, and she's inspiring. She got assistants and offices and all of these things. So why is she struggling to find her financial independence? It's just baffling to me. Like, when you listen to somebody tell all these tall tales, and when nobody's buying it, but we're here to watch the show, but it's a show. But it's like, girl, you haven't really, like, if you still over here like waiting on this man to get his steamboat check or whatever he's making, I don't know that she's clearly not making that much money on this show. She's had a lot of exposure and a lot of opportunity to turn this into something. This is season 7. So she's shooting a pilot for a talk show. I don't know. I don't know. She better go over to YouTube. Shoot, there's a lot of people trying to get a talk show. People that are far more well known than she is. Anyway, child, this is what she's starting with. This, she is the intro to every season. So this is where she came at us with the intro. Marie Monroe and what's this man's name? Cedric. Marie Monroe and Cedric are no longer a thing. So she has her daughter, Zuri, coming over to the office 2 times a week to learn the business. I love that. See, that's why I said Marie Monroe is the real HBIC over here, because that I think that's great. That's when you people be talking about generational wealth. The kids don't want to she don't have to look for a job. She's in line to inherit a lot. So she need to go ahead and learn how to run that business. Love it. They have a conversation about her daddy. Cedric is back out in these streets. I mean, that's the story we're going to go with. There's always this conversation about, should the kids be part of adult conversations? And I'm going to say it depends on the age. So young Zuri is over here old enough to come over here, file paperwork, you know what I'm saying, learn the business. She's been through a lot. She's seen a lot. She's seen her daddy coming in and out the house. So this is not a new story for her. And she's seen her brothers out here in the street. So to try to sit up here and act like we should protect little Zuri from the world is kind of silly to me. I think married women in relationships spend a lot of time protecting the man, you know what I'm saying? So the kids don't know who they really are. You know what I'm saying? So you create these tall tales so the girl is like, your dad is this great guy and he gets to be a hero. Meanwhile, he's in these streets doing, not the best thing. We went over to his house. It was downright nasty. So she know who her daddy is. And I feel like it's a disservice to your daughter to pretend that this man is somebody that he's not, because you set her up, I feel like, to go make the same types of choices. This is, like I said, Zuri is not stupid. She know who her daddy is. And so do I feel like this conversation was inappropriate? I do not, because I feel like she's old enough to have it. Also, mothers and daughters have a different kind of bond as the daughters get older. You have to be honest with one another. Also, I feel like her telling Zuri maybe put her in the position that now Zuri can hold her accountable. So the next time she come over there grinning in somebody's face, talking about she about to give Cedric another chance, Zuri can be like, for what? We already discussed this. The man is selfish and nasty. He's sitting over in that raggedy ass house. You know what I'm saying? She can hold her mama accountable. So I was not mad at this conversation. I think, kids are way smarter than we give them credit for. And yeah, I think it was an appropriate conversation to have, during this time. Like, the man ain't there no more. She didn't tell him he can't come through no more. So she gonna have questions, and there's no point, like I said, in painting him into, this great man that he is definitely not. She the one over there making the money, and now Zuri is gonna know the business. Where them boys at? Out in the street. Yup. Anyway, moving on. Carrie is planning her 44th birthday, and she's having a Love Jones themed birthday party. I guess, girl. I mean, I if you look at the picture of the party, it just looks like some people over to somewhere. So, 90s, just say 90s, girl. What is we having a Love Jones? I get like to some extent, but I'm not dressing like Love Jones. What? It's some jeans and a white shirt. It's a wonder everybody not sitting up there dressed like what's her name? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Now, her and her husband, they sit down, they're checking out this space, which is not Love Jones enough for them. So this was her soror, and I'm guessing she wanted to showcase the business. I appreciate that. Her and her husband had a little iced tea out there, and the back of the place, and her husband is like, so we're having this party. So what's going on with Latrice and Letitia? Because we know they're the anchors of the show. So are they going to be both invited to this party? Because the last time, things went left. That's not what he said, but that's basically what he said. They don't want them coming over there messing up the energy, but girl, that's what the show is for. I'm gonna say this. I see Carrie over here doing what she's supposed to do and taking advantage of using this platform for her businesses. Seems like she's bringing her real life. You know what I'm saying? She's got a business that's not doing well. So, most people try to hide those things. What's up, Kelly, over there with your waffle place that's closed, chicken and waffles? Anyway, they're concerned, about the party, but, Carrie says she's been stressed out quite a bit because her Mobile, Alabama location is not doing well. And she said the economy is bad. Restaurants are not easy. And now you're coming from Mississippi. I don't know how close that is. It's probably not a long drive. You know what I'm saying? But still, over the state line. Now you're dealing with, a business that's going to take maybe a loss. She said hundreds of thousands of dollars that she's invested into it. I don't know what the brick and the spoon is. You know what I'm saying? So whatever she was doing over there, she should have just invested in something different. But she's put this weight on her shoulders. Now she wants her husband to, take some of the weight off, and he's not interested in doing it. It don't seem like. I don't know what the conversation was, before she went into this business. He might have told her this is not a great idea because, he's retired. And, he retired and probably like, I don't want to go back, to busting my ass. Restaurant business is very hard. And now, you have two businesses. So she running herself ragged. And he looking at her like, these were your choices that you made. So, I'm interested to see, what happens with it. She might have to close it. Then she'll have to find another passion. She's over here in Jackson. So there's no real point in being in Mobile. So let's see what she's going to do over here in Jackson. It seems like it makes more sense for what she's doing. Anyway, Letitia and Glenn have a counseling session with Uncle Steve or Mr. Steve or... Glenn said this is his godfather. I'm like, if you feel like this man is like your godfather, and the way Tisha greeted him when she came in, like she knows him, but this is clearly Glenn's people. So Mr. Steve is your godfather, but he's supposed to be your counselor as well. Anyway, Glenn doesn't feel like he's a priority in his marriage. Nigga, get your life. This irritated me so bad. He said, just when things were getting right, Miss Independent to show back up. No. That's not what happened. What had happened was Amanda Mandy was over here at the party down in your DMs and brought it to your wife's attention because you thought you could slide and just be like, she's just the gay girl. She's the gay girl that sometimes has sex with men and quite possibly has sex with Glenn. Now he want to act like Tisha's over here acting like she's Miss Independent. Baxter says hi. I think she left the reunion realizing that she is financially dependent on this man that keeps cheating on her. So, girl, if you're going to do it, do it. We are tired of hearing this story. Even Mr. Steve was like, I mean, don't you think there could be a medium? I feel like, Mr. Steve, did you do any counseling over here? It seemed like Glenn was running the show. Shoot. He wants Tisha in the house. He's a traditional man. I would like her in the house. Yeah, so you can keep doing what you're doing. She don't want to be in the house. She want to be over here on the sofa interviewing people. I mean, honestly, her set was cute. If she could figure out a way to do it, Tisha, just go down to YouTube like everybody else and then take baby steps and get used to doing it. But I don't think it would be difficult for her to honestly make something of it if that's what she really want to do. This makes way more sense, Tisha, than brunches and things. You know what I'm saying? You can come over here. You can partner up with one of the little JC Penney's little power suit lines and, get you your weird girl, it'd be a hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? She liked to talk. She liked to do public speaking. So this might be a lane where she could actually thrive in, but no, Mr. Freely swinging Dickley over here around the city of Jackson wants her to stay in the house. Get your own life. And this is another thing. Tisha's very cute. I just feel like if she had the right partner, because when you come over here to these places where these people congregate, you must have a man on your arm. If you don't have a man, that means that's why you got to keep people like Glenn and Cliff around, because you need to show up with a man. Or you can show up by yourself like Marie Monroe and handle business and let Cedric stay where the hell he is. Anyway, I don't want this lady to stay in the house. I think Tisha is full of shit most of the time. All the time, really. But, I definitely also think she could thrive better without him. Niggas be a distraction to your success. Put that on the t-shirt and wear it. Glenn said he's worried that she's setting herself up to skedaddle and skedaddle. And she would be a fool not to. That's exactly what she should be doing. Tisha, get your couch over there on YouTube. It won't take you no time, you know what I'm saying, to get your subscribers and views up and, find some people to come sit over there, and chit chat with you about different things. I think speaking is like a positive thing that she has going on. We already got her a power suit endorsement, child. So we'll work on that. Shantae, is that her friend's name? Shantae, if this has anything to do with your input, with snarky ass little attitude, then, I'm going to say keep doing what you're doing. Anyway, Tisha she's never left him before. So, if he worried, that's a good thing. But Tisha's tired of him and Mr. Steve. She was like, okay, well, I got to go pick up the boy from school. So, that was the end of the session. And Mr. Steve, through whatever the conversation they just had about how Glenn would prefer her to stay inside the house and not be independent. He said, I still see a strong couple. Mr. Steve, just retire yourself. People be throwing that name counselor and mentor. I'm going to need somebody with some actual education that studied, people and behaviors and things. Latrice and Cliff have a staff meeting down to Taste. Now, Taste has decent reviews. They got a 3.9, which is, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? But the reviews were good. The people said the food was good. Every now and then you're going to have one person that wasn't satisfied. Maybe they caught him on a bad night or whatever. But, she's having a management meeting. Cliff said they're under new management. So that's a part of restaurant life. I don't know how long the brick and the spoon been in business, but this one is fairly new. What would you say, about 3 years? So, restaurants don't really even start being successful until after that fifth year. So, yeah, they under new management. Latrice is not happy because she has a red lipstick requirement. The girls aren't wearing red lipstick. That's a stupid requirement, Latrice. Take that off your uniform list. The girls said they don't do that. I feel like the staff don't like the uniforms. Latrice has a vision of what she wants people to look like based on her body, and she could wear all that stuff. The girls said they are uncomfortable, they don't like it, and I feel like this is a conversation that should have been had with them. They had a little glimpse of the girls like with bustiers and on and stuff. Waiting tables, I need something, where I can bend over in. She said they have booty cheeks. Well, it's the club. And they over here trying to get their tips together. So maybe you could come to some type of compromise, but I don't think it's appropriate for this guy or any of these guys to be having no discussions with your wait staff about booty cheeks. It starts to be a gray area. But the manager is hearing that they don't like it. The uniforms are ugly. And he's saying that not because he's a fashion guy, because he hears these girls saying about how they don't like it. So, Latrice, you glamorous. You walking around in some high heel shoes with a condition. So we'll get to that. But yeah, nothing accomplished in this meeting because it was, all for show. Latrice and what's his name? Cliff. Latrice and Cliff sit down and discuss how her and Letitia's rift is interfering with his relationship with Glenn. Now he needs her to figure things out, fix that, so him and Glenn can get back to being friends again. And she's like, no, we will not be having any type of friendship with the Pearsons. I think Glenn and Cliff should just spend time away from these ladies. And, when Latrice, you sound crazy. I don't feel like Glenn's behavior is going to be any type of influence on Cliff. If anything, it's the other way around. Yeah, but she said she ended up in the hospital with blood clots. She said she had blood clots in her legs and even ended up near her lung. And I'm like, that is freaking serious. So what's really going on? Why is this girl so stressed out that she's got blood clots? Is that something that, runs in her family? Or that's very scary. And so, aside from her being a little brat, I would hope, that she keep an eye on her health condition, because her husband ain't. He said he hopes to outlive her. And I was like, what the frick kind of question? Child, I hope I live longer than you. What the fuck is he even saying? That was pretty much it with that conversation. This, the first episode is pretty much setting us up for what's to come. Latrice and Marie meet up at Letitia's house. They picking out outfits together for this 90s party, a Love Jones theme. And like I said, they're limited. Use some jeans and a leather something. Shantae is there. Letitia invited her because she asked, could she have a +1? And she said, yeah. And so she chose Shantae. Why didn't you tell her that long time ago? You know what I'm saying? Why? She could have brought something over and it could have been a whole thing. You gonna tell her at the last minute, oh yeah, now I asked if you could come, so go home and find something to wear. I don't know. I guess this lady is acting as her buffer. Like, she need more people because she don't know if Latrice is going to be bringing that girl Mandy around. She might have cut that off. Mandy might have been, exited out, but we still know what she did and what happened over there. Marie and Letitia discussed their shitty husbands. There's like nothing really there. Letitia said Glenn is coming to the party. Marie said she not telling Cedric about anything, and I don't blame her. And that's how you know she's not playing. Now, Glenn is, a Belle, so of course he's coming to the party. But Cedric is not a Belle, and if Cedric is gonna be over there doing other things with that ex-girlfriend or whatever he was over there doing things with, then he shouldn't be a part of the show. We don't need him to come around. We don't need him to come visit. We need Marie Monroe to find a businessman that has some sort of, even if it's somebody got something like a lawn service, or you know what I'm saying? Hell, Cliff is the tree man, tree removal guy. So somebody that owns a legitimate business. In the South, lawn service people actually stay employed for quite a long time because, winter winter is short. So and not that she needs to look for the lawn service guy, but Marie is like a thick woman, and I feel like a lawn service guy is used to lifting things, and so yeah, not like Cedric. He doesn't look like he does any heavy lifting. Did y'all see Cedric walk through there with that daggum house dress, sleeping dress on? Do anybody, man, wear that? See what I'm talking about? It's the day of the party. She chose this little house. That was the venue. I was like, y'all look very packed up in there, but she was trying to have this, like, she should have found like a maybe they don't have that. Maybe that's something that you should invest in, Miss Carrie, some type of jazz grown folks, what they call poetry night type situation. Now, everybody grown over here, I think they would appreciate, that you could have artwork in there. Let me come over there and help all y'all. Miss Carrie, we don't know what is a brick and a spoon, but you can take Love Jones over to a business since you already have a restaurant. Anyway, they crowded up in this house, doing poetry and things. So she had a guy come over there that's gonna help them write poetry. What's the point in that? She should have just had a couple people come through that knew what they was doing, but this ain't my party, child. This was not a good party. I'm sorry, Miss Carrie, but this party sucked. I don't know what the food was, but Marie said she was finna stop on the way over there. That's why they was late. They got to that party late because they went to go get something to eat. They don't know what Carrie be serving over there. But anyway. Cliff and Latrice drive a Cybertruck. And it's very much not cool. You lost all the cool points. She came out of there dressed like in, this full length fur. She looked cute, but she got out of that Cybertruck. So, and she's standing next to Cliff. She said, Marie don't have no man with her. Latrice don't have no man with her. I'm not surprised. Girl, that's so lame. I hate that that's like even part of, look what you came in there with. Cliff. I would much rather be single. Girl. I don't know what that outfit has to do with Love Jones, but she was not born probably, or she was just a small child in the 90s and probably hasn't even seen Love Jones. It don't seem like something Cliff would watch. Glenn comes by himself because, like I said, he's a Belle and he would not miss the opportunity for filming. He's been waiting. At this point, he probably gets a check. Him and Cliff have a little short conversation, and Cliff went over there and she said, you may say hi and that's it. Don't be over here having long conversations. But I mean, that would be weird. So Glenn walks in, he posted up next to Cliff, and they go, back to where they stopped talking. And he was like, I thought he was family. And, basically Glenn feels like Cliff could have put a kibosh on this girl opening her big mouth. Cliff said, can't do it. And Cliff said, you saying that me and my wife are trying to ruin your marriage, nigga, that's not what the problem is. You know what I mean? You messing around too close to comfort, too close to home. So that's all on you. Anyway, before they could get into the conversation, Latrice walks over there and interrupts. Let me holler at you for a minute. So that was the end of it. Like, and Cliff's like, see, told you, not allowed to talk to you, which I thought, Latrice, he's telling on you like to anybody that'll listen. Like, he making a fool out of you. He can't, you were so put off by that you wanted to leave. And Carrie's pretty much like, where is y'all going? The party just started. Y'all Sit your ass down. We about to go over here and do some poetry. Did you write a poem or not? So Mike wrote a poem, I guess, to with a little help to Selena, who has a 50th birthday party and a wedding coming up. Girl, I don't see no wedding happen. Anyway, Mike does his poem. I do, I do, I do. I choose you. That was pretty much what I heard. You know, he needed a flashlight and all that. It was dark. You know what I'm saying? I can't say nothing without my glasses. I am nothing. Um, Now it's Glenn's turn. He gets up and makes yet another speech. We had his rap song. We had him down to the book, relaunch. Remember, she wrote a book. She comes up with something different every single season. Anyway, he was down to the book launch. Baby, where did we go wrong? He was over here writing songs for her. And so last season, it ended with the vow renewal that almost didn't happen because, he didn't tell her, or he did tell her, or whatever it was he did. I don't know. She wrote a poem, with the help of the man. He's sitting up there talking about, like they wasn't just sitting up in the counselor the other day. You know how she feeling. He's sitting up here talking about, will you love me again? And she ain't say nothing. And the people are like, answer. She's answered. Her answer is, I have nothing to say, because he's on bullshit again. And I hope she don't say nothing. And he can stand there looking a fool. And if she really want to do something in real life, man has got to go. He's got to go. Like, in his mind, he should be your first priority. You should be at home, not building any kind of empire or whatever it is you're trying to build. At this point, you're going to let him use up all your goody years, girl. You in your 40s, you better let that thing go. Put that trash out. Anyway, that was the first episode. It was okay. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens. Yeah, so y'all like the video. Subscribe to my channel. Holy moly, you've been over here this whole time. Let's see what she had to say. Nia Long. Yes, that's who she was dressed like. I agree. It should have been in a lounge. I didn't see any of these messages before. Sorry, T. I'm looking my phone, but none of this has popped up on my phone. So my phone betrayed me on the chat. Yes, it should have been at a lounge. You know what I'm saying? That little house, it was very weird. No, people couldn't spread out. I didn't see what the food was, but I don't trust carrying the food unless she's getting it catered by somebody else. And that's terrible because she's a restaurateur. I didn't hear no music, but they can't do that. But it just seemed like a bunch of people standing around in the house. It didn't seem like she had the first restaurant all set before moving forward. Not enough. And expecting her husband to take on the weight, like, I'm not doing that. I'm retired. Their kids ain't little, really. You know what I'm saying? He want to go golf. And I can't be mad at it. I'm not going to sit up here and be like, he's not a good husband, because he probably told her in the first place not to open that second restaurant. She's all over the place, but honestly, why can't she afford living on her own as a Belle Bosman? Remember when So Gucci took her over to that apartment? She should have stayed there. So, and I feel like a Belle Bondsman's salary in Jackson is probably enough. You know what I'm saying? They don't live in no fabulous home, so it's not like she has to like downsize to anything. He can go back. He can figure it out. She's too busy trying to be a star with unrealistic goals. What do you think about her as doing her little talk show, though? I don't hate it. What was the fake meeting? Her and them and Uncle Steve? Yeah, she didn't feel like she had much time for that. Red lipstick does not look good on everyone. Yeah, or some people don't even like to wear lipstick. I'm not shocked that Cliff stayed away from Glenn because they got dirt. He got dirt on him too. So he probably thinks it's best to just relax and see what happens. Yes, Letitia brought her show for Mandy. I don't know if Mandy gonna be around, but I guess if Latrice have anything to do with it, she'll go film down to the beauty shop. They vowed to like tell each other's business. It's on and popping between the two of them. Letitia and Glenn must not live together. That house is a front. That house is definitely a front. Definitely. They be renting cars and Airbnbs and things when it's time for the show. They probably stay over around to her mama's house where she was staying the first time. Um, Cedric is a diva and probably gay. There, I said it. So, allegedly. Um, Glenn stopped talking to Cliff first. Yeah, he was mad. He was mad because he should have kept the girl's mouth shut. Now he want to be over there. How about Latrice, though, and the blood clots? Now, that's very scary. The poems were terrible. The poems were terrible. But I think it would have been better to just have people that do poems. You know what I'm saying? And not, these dudes are not poets. They do good to speak English. I understand Bad Bunny better. Whether she say it or not, she ain't going nowhere. I don't think she's going anywhere only because every other season, this is what they do. They fall out, they come back, they have a, ceremony or reconnection ceremony the whole time. She was reconnected. Mandy was over there with the, timeline that had people confused. So yeah, y'all, that's it. I came in here and didn't see T's comments. If she didn't get it all out, she'll call me later and be like, and another thing. So yeah. How is this schedule gonna go? Because I work on the weekends. That's what makes it hard. And now I'm here every morning at 10 o'clock. I will be here tomorrow at 10. We're gonna get into a little coffee talk. And I gotta come back at 7 for the Potomac reunion. So yeah, there's that. And Belle Collective, I think I'm gonna do it on. I think I'm gonna just keep it as Sunday night. They probably won't have that many episodes anyway. So yeah, from for this season, yeah, we'll meet here at 7 o'clock to talk about the Bells. In the meantime, y'all, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be here in the morning for some coffee talk. Bye, y'all.